Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has invited the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Martin Amaewhule, and other lawmakers for a meeting at the Government House in Port Harcourt. The meeting, scheduled for Monday, March the 10th, was confirmed in a letter dated March the 7th and signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Amaewhule.
According to the letter, the discussions will focus on securing a proper venue for assembly settings, settling outstanding allowances for lawmakers, and presenting the state budget. Other matters concerning the progress of the oil-rich state will also be addressed. Now, here's what you should know. The invitation follows Governor Fubara's earlier commitment after receiving a recent Supreme Court judgment. The Rivers State House of Assembly had given Governor Fubara a 48-hour deadline to represent the 2025 appropriation bill. This deadline has since elapsed, with the state government claiming it didn't receive a letter from the Assembly. We're joined to discuss this further by the CEO and founder of TAFAFRICA, host Hidden Sparks podcast, Epelle. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Morning. It's my pleasure to be here and sandwiched in between two best friends. So I am safe, but also you can be sure that I will speak to national issues as it relates to my dear state and whatever we can do.
Let's hope that the governor will be able to say the same thing too at the end of today, that he's sandwiched between best friends. The meeting is scheduled to hold today. The government saying that they didn't receive any official notice. But let's get your thoughts regarding the expectations for this meeting. How do you foresee that the Martin Amaewhule-led team or the lawmakers at this point, how do you foresee that they'll respond to this?
You know, truly, I don't practice telepathy, so I can't peep into their mind to know exactly what their intentions and motives are. But I think we have an opportunity, we shouldn't be missed, of towing the line of peace and ensuring that full-blown governance will return to my dear state. Because, like I always say, when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. It's the people. I am a people person. And, you may call me a weeping boy, a weeping analyst. I can't hold back tears because I know what it means to put people and impoverish people when these political gladiators are fighting. It is the people that suffers the most. So whatever happens, I must also say that I'm seeing a genuine intention, and I've said it before, for matter of conflict of interest. I am from Epelle. I'm from the same place with Fubara. I'm not here to speak as his government spokesperson. No. I am here to set the record straight and to speak objectively as much as I can, So this man wants peace, and I kept saying it. Fubara is not known to be destructive. Fubara is not known to be someone who is hell-bent on grabbing power. If you give him a chance, he will resign and walk away. I can tell you that for free, But he needs to be there to govern us because God has put him there. No matter whatever anybody did to put him there, if God didn't want Fubara, he will not be there. Okay. And so all of us, all hands must be on deck to support him, to rule, to lead the state. I'm choosing my word this morning because his interest is not to rule the state, but to lead the state. And I'm sure the camp of Wike. Go ahead, sir.
Now, Mr. Epelle, the last time we spoke to you, you were in Switzerland. Perhaps if you give the warring parties some chocolates, it might bring about peace. Now, you said the governor is a man of peace, and he's extended the olive branch to the Martin Amaewhule camp by addressing him as speaker and extending this kind of invitation. But it doesn't seem, if one side wants peace, the other side too needs to desire peace. But one of the lawmakers from the Martin Amaewhule camp, Lolo Opoende, completely dismissed the governor's invitation, saying, and I quote, "How can you write a letter for the House of Assembly and put it on social media and expect us to come. The governor should write us the proper way. Number one, does he have a point? He also went on further to say it's time for the governor to day his day while we day our day. That's quite a strong statement. Does this mean there's a total breakdown in relations, or is there still time for a chance for truce?
I don't blame the governor in this case. I don't blame him because the problem is the loss of trust and confidence. His position could be that, hey, if I don't show the public that I've truly invited these people, they will turn around and say they didn't get the letter. And that can be dangerous for him in terms of defending that he truly transmitted the letter. You know, is it something that I probably would have done? Maybe, I don't know. I'll think twice. However, the man is in a survival mood. So whatever he needs to do, he needs to prove to the public and everyone involved that I said I would do this, I have done it, you know. So I think for the lawmaker who made that statement, and they were doing things that also were in the social media. Why do you want to change the goalpost? Because you feel that someone wants to come and score, you know. I think we should put all this behind us. Look, my dear, I'm a leader. What Siminalayi have done right now shows leadership, shows maturity, shows good intention, you know. And I've spoken to some camp in Wike's group, the likes of Chief Deloitte and all that, and we all agreed there's a need for everybody to sheath their sword and pursue peace in the most honorable way. So all sides must tone down the rhetorics so that we can pursue governance in my dear state. For heaven's sake, we have suffered enough. We are withholding the resources that will give access to health, access to social services, access to education. How long can you stretch the people? And so, Martin Amaewhule, the Speaker, let me address you this morning. Show leadership. Show the integrity that we all say. Go with your group, the team, and at least listen to the governor. Let him even say all the nonsense you think he will say. And then the choice of implementing what he has said is yours. So don't be deceived by one or two members of your group that will say don't go or don't listen to the governor. It doesn't make political sense. And it might work against you, Mr. Speaker. It might work against you in the future. It's something, I'm just giving you a sound advice as an elder. This is not good for your political records if you don't show up for meetings, for this meeting. And for Mr. Governor, sir, treat them with utmost respect. Be open. Don't worry about whether you'll be misunderstood or taken advantage of. God has kept you on that seat till this time. He will keep you. Let there be honesty on both parts. You know, sincerity of purpose on both parts. Whatever you do, Siminalayi, my brother, remember what you told me, that the thing that concerns you the most is the people that are suffering. Always have that at the back of your mind and go there and prove the Opopo man that you are. We are civilized, we are humane, we operate with a human face. We don't care about name. You know, Fubara, remember I told you, don't bother about reputation, bother about your character. Once you fix your character, it will fix your reputation.
All right. I mean, is it maybe an argument? Because there are those who will blame the governor, that the governor also, that the first team that wrote a letter was the House of Assembly members who had written to the governor to represent the budget. and he did not honor that. So is it an argument that the governor has also erred in that regard? And as at last night, the reports are that we're not sure if they will or will not show up for the meeting. If they choose not to show up for the meeting, what other options are there?
Well, for the governor receiving such notice and threat, any other person will probably, and I'm not, remember, I was one of the first analysts that called on him to obey all Supreme Court rules. Chidi Lloyd was with me, and he was very respectful to me as an elder person. Throughout that interview in another station, he kept saying, Uncle Jake, and I respect that, and it was genuine, So, in answer to your question, for him not really obeying, I think he was reviewing the judgment, getting advice from his lawyers, getting advice from his attorney general, and ensuring that he's on the right side of the law. That said, if I were in his shoes, I probably would have transmitted a letter and said, give me some time, this look like a threat to me, but give me some time. I will respond to you. You understand, But this man has shown leadership in writing to them and calling them for a meeting. And the Fubara I know, he may even render apologies and say, I'm sorry, I didn't respond when I responded. I was reviewing the judgment to know and be on the side of the law and caution, not making excuses for him, let all sides come to the table and negotiate. He has agreed publicly that he's going to make sure that all the entitlements are paid. You understand?
Mr. Epelle, a lot of observers and critics,
the budget.
a lot of observers and critics of Mr. Governor Fubara would argue and say, he's doing this now because he's been boxed to a corner by the Supreme Court ruling, that this invitation should have come way earlier and we would have avoided this dramatic situation with sin. The governor's invitation includes discussions on allowances, a proper meeting space for the assembly, and the budget. Is this really a real attempt at reconciliation, or is doing it because he's been boxed to a corner? And do you also agree that he should have done this months ago? Why is it coming now?
No, I think he wanted to wait to see the legal process play out. Okay. Secondly, let me not backtrack. If you go into the antecedents of even the former governor and several other Nigerian governors, Wike is not particularly to be accused. It's a common practice in Nigeria that governors don't obey the court orders. Anybody who wants to be strong-headed would just jettison everything that is being said, and still do what he wants to do. You understand? Let me say this, and I'm saying this because I've had two meetings with Sim. I have extended the same olive branch to the camp of Wike, and I didn't get any invite. I even told Chidi last time, tell him he was the first minister to sign my policy, the first policy I ever wrote for this country. So I still have my respect for him, you understand. But however, in direct answer to your question, I think the governor is not, I know him, he's not afraid of losing that seat. He's not afraid of throwing in the towel. No, that's not the issue. The guy just wants to deliver on governance and write his name in bold gold that this is what I did in spite of the pressure, But he needs to tread cautiously and do the needful and do what is right before God, in spite of whatever he stands to gain or lose. Who knows? I don't also want to be predicting the unpredictable. You don't know what is in the heart of Martin Amaewhule.
Okay, I want us to still come back to the conversation. I want us to still come back to the conversation about, where a proper place for the assembly to sit. Do we have updates regarding the assembly that was, the assembly complex that was demolished a while ago? We know that there were different reports as to why it was demolished, and there were speculations as to the real intent. The critics who have blamed the governor for being behind the demolition because of the politics and the show of power. So do we have any updates in that regard? And do you think that's something that should be discussed thoroughly?
Again, I will speak as an elder statesman. I'm 64, so I am. Listen, it's unfair to pin the destruction of that assembly to Fubara. It's unfair because no court have said so. Nobody saw him that night leading this destruction. He has not owned up to say, I was responsible. I think it would be unfair to keep making references to him that he's responsible for what we don't have empirical evidence. Okay, so let's look at the flip side. The destructions of the local government, will you also say that Wike is responsible? There's no empirical evidence. I don't need an IQ of a mushroom or being a lawyer to know that there must be evidence to prove anybody's claim. And that's the situation, Now, in terms of getting a place, my friend, I'm from Rivers. There are several good places, even private property that the governor can hire and, allow them to sit. Even where they are sitting now, in a matter of hours, they can quickly renovate it, expand it, make it more comfortable for them to continue to sit there. The important thing that the governor wants to do is to make sure that they have a befitting place that is neutral, that he is not going to control, you understand, and allow them to do their proceedings. What's wrong in him saying, I want to give you a befitting place? Why are we always going to the past, trying to predict the future? Nobody can tell me of a truth that Fubara has owned up, or there's a court process that said he's responsible, or the people concerned coming out to confess that he sent them. There's nothing like that. So let's be fair.
Now, Mr. Epelle, you've, in your discussions and submissions since this Rivers issue started, you've always taken the side of a peacemaker. But we've heard from militant groups, and their comments almost sound like a veiled threat, and anticipating that, look, if this Amaewhule group, the 27 lawmakers, go ahead and impeach the governor, I mean, it's anticipatory at this point, they will. This crisis has been in Rivers State since it broke out, but what they're threatening might affect the socio-economic well-being of the country. They're saying, look, we will stop oil installations from working and all of that. And you do know the implications of that to foreign exchange earnings in the economy at large. What do you make of this sort of rhetoric?
My brother, this is the most important question you've ever asked me. And both yourself and the audience here, if I become emotional, don't take it out on me. Don't think I'm trying to manipulate things. This is who I am. Please, as I look through the lens of this camera, let me address the Asari Dokubo, Tompolo, everyone involved in the struggle within the creek. Please do not do anything. You don't have to destroy the state because you want to protect the interest of any of the parties concerned. Remember, and I say this times without numbers, most of the children of these people are not even in the country. It will backfire on the common people. Asari Dokubo, my brother, we are all Ijo. Tompolo, we are all Ijo. Ijo people are peaceful people. Ijo people are reasonable people. Ijo people are not the kind of people that you stir them up and they start doing what everyone would later regret. do not ask your people in the creek to blow the pipeline. You're not doing that in the interest of Fubara. Do not instigate youths to fight. There's a certain fight you just leave in the hand of God, and he will do it, and he will do it neatly. Exodus 14:14 comes to mind. Leave the fight to him. He will do the fight, and he will do it neatly. It doesn't matter who is out there lifting their hand and worshiping, and anybody can do praise and worship.
All right.
But it depends on what God you are worshiping. If he is a God of peace, then let there be peace. Don't buy to anybody's pressure.
All right.
That will create anarchy in the state. It is our people that will suffer the most.
Now, looking at how, the way forward, what we're looking for is for we want to ensure that there is peace in River State and there's progress. Is there a role maybe that the former governor, the Minister of the FCT, might play in helping to achieve this peace and progress that we're looking for in River State?
Once, there's one side of Wike that I know, that despite all the things you see him and all that, inside him is a heart of a baby. Just like I cry, Wike can cry. You understand? Look, Honorable Minister of FCT, show leadership. Call your political son. They say you slap with right, you draw with left. Once you call Fubara and two of you snap picture, two of you hold hand, you will dismantle everybody. But you will be the hero of all this whole process. Show him that you're matured. Show him that you're empathic. That's what leaders do. People make mistake. I'm a bundle of mistake. You are a bundle of mistake. Nobody is perfect. But let's show everyone concerned that we're truly Rivers people. He has made mistake. Yes. You too have made mistake. So this is the time to let go the past, pursue be in the present, and pursue the future.
Now, Mr. Epelle, as we wrap up this conversation with the lawmakers and the governors and the governor at loggerheads, we're anticipating a meeting in about 2 hours. Do you think this political stalemate might improve things for the people, and what do you anticipate as for the results of this meeting that would take place, proposed meeting between the governor and the Martin Amaewhule camp?
First of all, before I give you what may look like prediction, let me tell you what I'm going to do. Once I'm out of this program, I will try and call the governor. The problem is that he's so inundated with too many things that sometimes he doesn't pick up. I will send text message, and this will be my advice. Not only should you open your doors, but open your heart. Be frank about your position. Be upright about your submission, but don't be in a hurry to make decisions you know you will not implement. It will use against you. What do I believe? I believe that that meeting will hold. I believe that some of them are watching your channel, which is being watched by many of them. And they're hearing me. Chidi Lloyd, my friend, show leadership. Amaewhule, show leadership. The APC chair, whatever, show leadership. Show this guy that you once were eating with him as he was eating with you. Put this whole nonsense, let there be common sense over nonsense. Put this whole nonsense behind us and move on. There will be healing. Once there's a willingness for reconciliation, You understand? We've all been aggrieved one way or the other.
All right.
But you must come to terms with the reality.
And we certainly do look forward to that meeting happening and the progress and advancement of the needs of River State people. Thank you so much, Jake Epelle, for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central.
Thank you, guys. You know you're my best on television, but also to thank my good friend Kayode and Joe and all the team at News Central.
Thank you very much.
You guys are the best.
We appreciate the kind
thank
words.
you.
Thank you.